5. So let us start with today's session. It is almost 5 minutes into the session. So what I would like you to do now is see this module number 2 of the book of M. Gopal. So in the message also I have written that see the book of M. Gopal and what all things we are supposed to study from that. So just keep on writing. So you should have pen and paper with you. And I now want you to read the books. So whatever things you will find in the module number first chapter, that is, if you see the first chapter, if you see the content from this book, you'll be finding that the first chapter will be exactly kind of our first chapter, that is very basic control system terminology and all. So now you have read my notes, all the notes are uploaded. Now you start reading books. And now onwards we'll be following this book only. Okay, so let us go through the chapter wise. So first 3 chapters kind of we have completed. What all things we can study there, let us see. And all the numericals from first, second and third chapter from this book or from our syllabus we can do. So let us start from the first chapter, what all things we can study. So you should have a pen and paper and just keep on writing what all things you should write or you should read from this book. So let us start with the module 1 only. So these are the preface and everything which is given. So this is module 1, control system terminology and basic structure. You can go through this. And then they are explaining what is input output configuration, what is open loop system, what is closed loop system and all these things. So there's a closed loop system example they have given. Then there is the automobile driving system. So I had shown you this, I had explained this thing. So there's a case study for your syllabus from module 1. And there is a residential heating system. This also you can prepare. Okay, that is, we have already seen this. I had explained it to you, but not as a part of this. So you can just go through what it does. So we have done this thing as a example of feed forward control. Okay. So there are many different kind of applications there. So there's another temperature control system. So this book is very good because very slowly, step by step, they have explained all the things. Now this is a diagram which I have shown you. So I have uploaded this PPT. There you find I have put some color into this diagram. But this is the best example of a room heating system and room temperature control system. And there's a closed loop system. So if they're asking that closed loop system or negative feedback system or analog control system. So there's a best example you can find at page number 6. Just keep on writing the page numbers fast, you will be able to understand. In page number 7 you are finding this is another feedback control system. So all the elements are explained here. So page number 6 and 7 are very important. So now formally you have to start getting prepared for exams. So now in 1.2, that is page number 8, they are giving genesis and essence of feedback control theory. Okay, so from where it is coming, so here some resistive type of voltage divider kind of a thing is given in feedback control. This thing you can skip, doesn't matter. So there is a servo mechanism. So whenever you will be doing projects in final year, some of you might use this servo mechanism. So what is the example? Best example of this thing is sun antenna, that sun is rising from this side and sun is getting set at this side. So this is from east to west. So there is a solar panel like this. It should always be facing the sun. So as sun is going up, the solar panel also will turn like this. Okay. So depending on the solar intensity, the antenna axis is changing. So this is a very interesting thing, and you can have a 24 hours microcontroller based system you can design for this. So you are doing microcontroller now, DSP now. So this is the best servo mechanism. So what is servo mechanism? What is steering of antenna? Best examples are given in this book, and those who want to get some more examples, you can see the book of Dorf. So whenever we have done the last case study, that is case study for module 2, there we have done the case study from the book of Dorf. So we have done the case study of the disk head position control system. Okay, so other also you can do there. So so more examples of closed loop control and all you can find there. So this is a servo mechanism what we have seen. This is the azimuth elevation. That means what is the angle of any point in the space with respect to another coordinate point. So these are explained here. You can check. Okay, so this is power amplifier, motor load, and other things. So this is a very interesting kind of a theory you just can go through. Now start reading from the books, because initially I told you don't look at the books because we were not ready with the theory. Now you have done the theory, we have read many numeric, we have done many numerical. Now you can open and see any book. Now this is another example. Okay, so we have seen last day the speed control of DC motor. Again, we will be doing the speed control of DC motor in detail in fifth chapter. But this is actually a digital control of speed control of DC motor. So there is a DC motor here, and this is the armature, and there is field, and these are devices: SCR, digital computer, full bridge rectifier. So you just go through this and understand what are the different applications. So these are all closed loop system applications. This is in the module number 1. Then feed forward feedback control. So I told you about feed forward control, and you can find out in the notes that I uploaded. So this diagram I had explained in the class, and this is actually a compensated open loop system. So this is also feed forward control. You are actually making the room hot, and you are not allowing the room to get cold. So before I'm entering the room, I will start the whole control process. So steam, water, heated air will be there inside the room, and then I will enter the room. So this is a very best example of feed forward feedback loop. So you can find out this is the controller, then this is the valve heat exchanger, then temperature sensor. This bottom part is the feed. So here is the diagram for that feedback feed forward control that was already explained to you in your class. So this is the best example of feed forward feedback control, and above one is the example, and below one is the control scheme. So this diagram I had explained in your class, and whenever feed forward control is also, you can draw this feed forward feedback control, because in this case this is the first part, which is a feed forward part, and there's a second part, which is a feedback part. And so this much from the chapter 1 of M. Gopal you can do. Multivariable control system is not immediately required. You can find out a distillation system, so all these things will be a little heavy for you, so at present it's not required. There are industrial processes, if you want you can just check. There is another system which is called aircraft stability and control. So from here we had done uh, how to lateral position of the aircraft is controlled, that we have done from a different book. So with this actually finishes the module number 1. Okay, so these are the small things from the module 1 you can do, just go through. Module 2, what all things can be done. So initial part always you should read whenever the chapter is being initiated for any book, especially this book. So you should read. So there are different types of systems they have explained in page 26. So whenever I'm saying page numbers, you just write down, you will understand what is it. So page number 26, they have explained many different systems, and all the systems you have studied in your subject signals and systems. So their understanding, their explanation, their examples, all these things are given here. Now, what is meant by initial condition, what is meant by response, and other thing, it is given there. So in module number 5, we will see the state variable model. So just now you don't need to do it, state variable model. It is not difficult. They have given a very simple example of RLC circuit. So don't do it now. State variable model, you don't need to do it. Okay, now page number 30 you can come and you can see exactly the mechanical model. So all these things I have done in my class. So understanding wise it is there. But if you wanted to do from the book, I think you should do it from the book only instead of depending on somebody's note. You can find it here. So this is page number 30. So these are formally I'm telling you the page numbers from where you have to do the theory. So page number 30 you can find this is a mass system, and whenever I'm saying it's a MBK system, so M is the mass, B is the damping coefficient, K is the spring constant. So all this modeling is done here. So this is M dV dt, and Vt is nothing but dxt dt. So this is actually M d2 xt dt2. Here it is Ft, and this B, V and K if you bring in the right side, so it is the same formula, that is M d2 x2 dt2 plus B Vt. Vt is nothing but dxt dt plus K of xt. So the same formula here you can find below. and then they are trying to represent it in terms of state variable model. So you don't need to see state variable model now, but in this first equation you can find out how they have done it. And whatever things are not we are not doing now, we can do it later. State variable model is a part of module 5. So this is a single input single output system. Then many examples and all these things are given. So this is the way the state variable systems are modeled. X dot is equal to ax plus br or bu. You don't need to know it now. These are the things you don't need to read at present. Okay, directly you can come to the impulse response. So accept state variable model so far. So the chapter 2 started at page number 25. So you can read everything except the state variable model. Now what is meant by impulse response model? So tomorrow morning again we are going to resume this, that is uh, that experiment number 4. Okay, and whatever is being done in the experiment, theory, case study, everything together will be your end sem exam question. And don't worry about exam, it is all about fundamental knowledge. So initial part, many fundamentals you have to understand, then only we can go ahead. So you can read what is meant by impulse response. So ys by xs we are finding xs we are substitute is equal to 1 because delta t is the impulse input. Whatever input I am giving to the system, if this input is equal to impulse, we find yt is equal to transfer function. So that is the fundamental of impulse response. So you can go through. So they have shown how impulse is generated. So you keep on shrinking the base, height keeps on increasing. So they have shown what is the basis of the impulse input, delta t. Now all these are too much of mathematics, they are not required. Whatever things I have explained, only that much you read. So these are many mathematics. These are not difficult, but not at the scope of your syllabus. So just impulse response means you find yx by xs, substitute xs is equal to 1. So what you find is ys is equal to transfer function, which is given by ts. So if you take inverse Laplace transform both sides, you find yt is equal to t of t. So that is nothing but impulse response. The significance of impulse response. So this is the input at which output and system transfer function they are same. That is yt is equal to t of t. There is a significance. And then Laplace transform basics. In short, they have explained what is Laplace transform, what are the properties is. This is a very important thing. Explain. Okay. So this is a j omega axis, left side of j omega axis. So this is minus a. So whenever the poles, so whatever these are transfer functions. So transfer function they are explaining as fs. It's a polynomial denominator. So this is s raised to n plus something. That means there are n number of poles. That means if you find the roots of this equation, you will be finding n number of poles. Numerator you will be finding m number of poles, and generally numerator poles are less than denominator poles because there is a strictly proper transfer function. Generally we find it. And if we are finding all the denominator poles are in the left side of j omega axis, that time the system will be stable. So it is like that. And more than other than these things, you don't need to read anything from this chapter at present. So impulse function they have explained. So now they are going in the domain of signals and systems. So this is the impulse input, there is the step input, there is a ramp input, and then there is exponential input. So just check this, t square by 2 mu t. So whatever ut we are talking about, that is mu t here. Okay, this is just a representation has changed. This is a cosine wave, cos omega t plus phi. That means the cosine wave is advanced by factor of phi. Okay, so from here to here, this is the phi. This is the positive peak. I'm sorry for this black blotch. Okay, so somehow I have missed. This is a problem with my browser and something maybe, I don't know. Okay, so this is actually the parabolic or square function. It is not only t square is also a square function. Why t square by 2 you are taking? Very important thing you remember, because if I am taking t square by 2, if you are finding its Laplace transform, that will be uh, 1 by s cube. Okay, or if you are taking only t square, it will be 2 by s cube. So in that case, doing that response thing in the Laplace domain will be difficult. So generally we are taking square function as t square by 2, and Laplace transform of t square by 2 is 1 by s cube, because Laplace transform of t square is 2 by s cube. So if you are taking 2 below, that 2 in Laplace domain gets cancelled with these 2. So generally we are taking square function as t square by 2. Laplace transform of that thing is 1 by s cube. Here we are taking delta t is equal to 1. Laplace transform is also 1. Unit step mu t they have written. We generally show it by ut or mu t. That is one unit step, and Laplace transform is 1 by s. This is t mu t. Okay. Generally we call it t because we are assuming that this is causal function. So causal means starts from 0 and goes to the right side of time domain. So this is t mu t, or simply saying as a t causal. This is slope is 1. So if I say 2t, that means this graph will become further steep. So this graph will become like this, 2t. So we can plot it because you have done this experiment in experiment number 2. So you can plot t, you can plot 2t, and you can check that as you are increasing the slope, the waveform will become more and more steep. Likewise. So these are the 5 basic functions. Sine, cosine, they are kind of same. They are just shifted version of one another. So this is something you can read. All the step function, ramp function, then parabolic function, sinusoidal function, they are explaining here. Likewise, just go through. Then the standard test signals. So these are standard test signals. Already we have seen. This is the Laplace transform, and this is the inverse Laplace. So this is a table 2.1, page number 43. Please remember, and this much if you do, your control system, almost 80 to 90% your control system related problems will fall in this formulas. Okay, so that is page number 43, table 2.1, very important table. Remember this, and here you can find out t square by 2. Laplace transform is 1 by s cube. T, that is t mu t, or t square by 2 mu t. You can say mu t. We are just multiplying because we are making the wave as a causal wave. Just multiplying by mu t, we are defining the starting point from t is equal to 0. Unit impulse, this is 1. So t e raised to minus at 1 by s plus a whole square. And then when we go inverse, at that time also it comes into picture. So now if I give you a system like e raised to minus at 1 by s plus a. Now I ask you find its impulse response. So if I give you a system as 1 by s plus a, impulse response will be e raised to minus at. And if I ask you to find step response, so in that case, how to find step response? So that is nothing but 1 by s into s plus a. So that is this. So whatever transfer function is given, directly find its inverse Laplace, that will be the impulse response. And whatever transfer function is given, multiplied by 1 by a or 1 by s, or divide the transfer function by s. Like if I give you 1 by s plus a, find the impulse response, that is e raised to minus 8. And the same thing, 1 by s plus a, I ask you to find out the step response of the system. So what you have to do is, you have to divide the whole transfer function by s. So in that case, the function will become 1 by s into s plus a. Now find its inverse Laplace transform. So what you are finding is 1 minus e raised to minus 80. So whenever 1 by s plus a is given, impulse response is e raised to minus 80. The same system, 1 by s plus a, step response is 1 minus e raised to minus 80. How can you find ramp response of 1 by s plus a? That means system is 1 by s plus a, and you are giving the system input as a ramp input. So in that case, what you have to generate is what is the ramp response in Laplace domain. So that will be 1 by s square into s plus a. So this is 1 by s plus a is the impulse response, and 1 by s square. So instead of this s, it will be 1 by s square into s plus a. That will be your ys with ramp input. Then how can you find out yt by doing partial fraction and all? So instead of 2, there will come 3 terms. So tomorrow we can do that. So there is a sims command, sims of s, and there first we input closed loop transfer function. So closed loop transfer function will input like this, s into s plus a, then s square into s plus a, and we'll find what is the ramp response. And that ramp response will take from the command window, we'll put, so there are 2 codes I had given you, we'll put in the other code and we'll plot this time domain response. So likewise, we can find out inverse of omega by s square plus omega square, and sine cos. So this e raised to minus 80 sine bt. So this thing again we will see tomorrow. That is some constant divided by s plus s square plus omega square. Okay. So whenever I am giving you some pole position, so you can take today also minus 2 plus minus 3j. So we can start with that tomorrow. That if I give you the poles minus 2 plus minus 3j, first thing, as soon as 2 plus minus 3j, so real part is 2 and it's negative. So minus 2 plus minus 3j means it will be in the left side of j omega axis, and above and below. It will be like that. So it's a stable pole and it will be generating a diminishing kind of sinusoidal waveform. So waveform will be like this, sinusoidal but diminishing kind of thing. Second order transient response, whatever you have found, it will be like that. So we can start with that I'll give you a pair of conjugate poles in the left hand side of j omega axis, and you have to tell me what is its impulse response, step response and all. Very important table, page number 43, table 2.1, please prepare. Now Laplace transform for simple systems. So one is, so this S is actually a differentiation system. So this Ys is the input now, and it is being passing through S. That means Ys is getting differentiated. So Sys. If you take the inverse Laplace transform, this will be y dot t, or what they have said as y dot s. So it will be y dot t, or integration of yt. Samely, if you are multiplying ys with 1 by s, it is 1 by s into ys. So if you take inverse Laplace, it will be integration of yt dt. So multiplying s in Laplace domain is differentiation. Dividing ys in Laplace domain is integration. So all these things they have shown with initial conditions. So if you are not considering initial condition, s means y dot t. If you are not using initial condition, ys by s is integration of yt dt. If you are using initial conditions, then what all things happen, it is given here. So don't get confused, these are not very big mathematics. I'm not asking, just see the result. Just check yt is equal to ut is equal to 0 to t yt dt. That's all. Final value theorem, initial value theorem, you have seen, but you don't know the implication. I will explain it to you, don't worry now. Now there is something called as time lag. So this is what is the diagram of a time lag. So there is a system response yt. Okay, so for this is a system response. So the same thing, 1 minus e raised to minus so 1 minus e raised to minus t. That is the step response of 1 by s plus a. That will look like this, but this is look like this. But the same response, if it is actually delayed by tau delta t or tau d, so in that case it will be y of t minus tau d. So that tau d is called as the delay. So dead time. So process is there, and then dead time. Dead time is nothing but whatever output you are getting yt, that will get delayed by some time. So here that delayed time is tau d. So this is y of t minus tau d. As this is shifted in the right side, this will be a delay. If this delay is in the left side, it will be called as advance. Okay, so everything, many fundamentals that you had done in case of signals and systems are explained here with respect to examples. Now there is a transfer function based model. I have discussed everything with you. What is meant by transfer function based model? What are the features, advantage, disadvantage? Everything is given here. So all the disadvantages are given here. So disadvantages, we don't know what is the intermediate state. Transfer function based system is always found for there is no initial condition, then only we can use transfer function based modeling. It can only model for linear time invariant system. So if the system is non-linear and time variant, we cannot use transfer function based system modeling. So now here again they are doing the mass damper and spring kind of modeling. So there is an example they have given, and we have done this ms square plus bs plus k. This model we have done, and the same thing LCR system. The same thing they have done is the modeling is done. It is s square plus r by l plus 1 by lc s square. So all these things are done. So these are basics that was there in my theory, my handwritten notes, but you can find it in this book. So please start preparing from the book or my notes, anything will do. Then dynamic response. So this is something which is very important, page number 52. I would ask every of you to prepare these things very thoroughly. So it is ys is equal to gsrs. Okay, so gsrs is the input, ys is the output, gs is the transfer function. What is meant by so here it is given gs is equal to ys by rs. So in this case, what they're saying is transfer function they are taking as gs. So please don't get confused. Every book might be having a different kind of notation. So for our case, we have taken gs as the forward path gain, but this book what they are taking is gs as the transfer function. So don't get confused, read books. So whatever ts we have taken, so this is gs here. And now this numerical every one of you should do by tonight. That is page number 53, example 2.3. This will very clearly tell you what is meant by impulse response, step response, and ramp response. So it's a request to all of you, all students, please go through what is example 2.3. So what they have given is GS, that is the transfer function, YS by RS. So YS by RS we generally call as CS by RS. So instead of C they are saying Y, instead of T they are saying G. To understand what is the notation, you have to read the previous things. Okay. So they have said compute the poles GS into RS. So what is GS? GS is the transfer function, and YS by RS is equal to GS. So RS is the input, YS is the output. Similarly, CS by RS. Now, this example will tell you exactly what is meant by step response, what is meant by ramp response. So here they are asking you to find out response if the input is 5 of UT. 5 into UT. Generally, we say UT is the unit step, 2 into UT, 2 of unit step, 5 of UT. So instead of U, they are using the symbol as mu. Okay, this is also unit step function. That means you are giving a DC voltage of 5 volt. So this is the first numerical we are doing for today. So 5 UT they are giving. So that means they are giving a band of DC volt of 5 volt. And find out what is the output. So what is given here is GS transfer function, then multiply this. So YS is equal to 1 by S square plus 3S plus 2 into RS, because YS by RS is equal to this. So YS is equal to RS into this. So what we have found out. And instead of RS, they are now substitute 5 UT. So what is 5 UT? Laplace transform of that thing is 5 by S. For those who did not understand my numerical last day during lab, you can see this page number 53 and you can find out. So now as soon as you are finding 5 by S into S plus 1, S plus 2, this is YS, Y is the output. So whatever you had found out previously 1 by S square plus 3S plus 2, that was YS by RS. But now I have taken the RS in the right side, I am finding what is output. So output I am finding is equal to YS is equal to transfer function, that is GS multiplied by RS. Now RS is nothing but Laplace transform of 5 UT. Instead of U they are taking as mu. So this is 5 by S. Now your total term is, that is YS is equal to 5 by S into S plus 1, S plus 2. That means there are 3 poles of the closed loop system. One is S is equal to 0, one is at S is equal to minus 1, another is at S is equal to minus 2. So this is a critically stable system or marginally stable system, because the 3 poles, one is at S is equal to 0. So whenever the pole is at S is equal to 0 origin, the system will be called as critically stable or marginally stable. And S minus 1 and S minus 2, they are stable poles. So only because of this S is equal to 0 pole, system will be called as critically stable. Now you are having this thing, so you do the partial fraction. So after you do the partial fraction, what you get is YS is equal to 5 by 2S minus 5 by S plus 1 plus 5 by 2S plus 2. Now YT, so YS is nothing but the response is Laplace domain when input is unit step. And take the inverse Laplace transform. So YT you are finding is 5 by 2. So how does 5 by 2 look like? It's a 2.5 volt DC. So you are giving a 5 volt DC as the input. So a component of 2.5 volt is coming at the output. So output is having 3 terms. Output is having one DC term, which is called a steady state response, that is 5 by 2. Another is an exponentially decreasing term. This is slowly decreasing, that is e raised to minus t. So e raised to minus t will be a flatter thing. This will be asymptotic, but this will be flatter. And second term is 5 by 2 e raised to minus 2t. So I told you there are 2 poles, one is at minus 1, another is at minus 2. So minus 2 is more stable compared to minus 1. That's why minus 2 will be falling faster, minus 1 will be falling slower. So if you add all the systems, then you will be getting what is the response. So response is like this. So this is the input we are giving 5, okay, and this is the response that we are getting. So this is called as a step response of the system, which is given by 1 by S square plus something, whatever is given, S square plus 3S plus 2. Okay, that is the system, that is the system transfer function. And if you are giving the input as step input, then the system is going to generate this kind of output. And now very important thing, what is the difference between 5 and 2.5? The difference is 5 minus 2.5, that is 2.5. This 2.5 is called as a steady state error, because from this point is called as inflection point, the system is kind of producing maximum output, and the system is producing maximum output as 2.5, but the system input is 5 unit, because this is now 5 UT. Okay, so whenever the system is got steady amplitude at the output, whatever is the distance between the actual input and system output is called as steady state error. So for this system, steady state error is 2.5 volt. So this is how we analyze the system response. Now second thing, how to find the ramp response. So first one was the unit step response, then 5 into unit step response, then ramp response. So what is the ramp input? 5 into t. Okay, now if you convert this thing into Laplace domain, so Rs will be 5 by a square. Now that thing we are doing here, that is that 5 by a square will be multiplied. So you can see here for the given ramp input, Rs is equal to 5 by a square, because it is 5 into ut is the input, 5 into or tut, 5 into t into ut, that is the input. You can check here. Initial case for unit step it was 5 into ut or 5 into mu t. For ramp it is 5t into mu t, or simply I can give you 5t as well. Okay, so 5t, what is the Laplace transform of that? It is 5 by a square. So you can find here ys equal to transfer function multiplied by rs. And what is rs? It is the Laplace transform of 5t. What is 5 by a square? Now whenever you're finding like this, it's a fourth order system you're finding. So with the input, it becomes fourth order. Okay, system is second order, but as soon as you are giving the input, the whole transfer function or ys is becoming a fourth order system. So how to find the partial fraction of this? It is given here, so please prepare this thing also, how to find partial fraction. So all this process are given. So whenever a square is there, you have to take some differentiation or something. You just check, not entering that. What you are finding is ys is equal to 4 terms. So this is 5 by 2 s square minus 415 by 4s plus 5 by 4s plus 1 and 5 by 4s plus 2. Now here you are finding there is a constant term, and this term is negative. Okay, so what is that? Minus 15 by 4, that means minus 3.75 plus 5t by 2. So this is a ramp kind of thing, plus e raised to minus 5t. So this is a DC component. This is a positive ramp. This is a exponentially decreasing, slow exponentially decreasing component, and this is a fast exponentially decreasing component. So if you add all these four, what response you are going to get is shown above. Okay, so this is the response. So this is yt you are finding, and this is rt. What is rt? Slope of 5. So this is 5 of t ut, and this is the response. This is the response. So at any instant, you can find out how much is the steady state error. So if I ask you, can you find the steady state error at this point? How can you find that? You have to drop a perpendicular from here to below. Okay, so any point, if I ask you what is the steady state error at this point, so just drop a perpendicular from here. Suppose it is touching at 2. So exactly at 2, whatever is the amplitude of this response, so yt is the response of the system and rt is the input. So at any instant, what is the definition of steady state error is after the system enters the steady state, this system is not entering steady state. You can check, it is still increasing and increasing and increasing, and this is a unstable kind of a response you are finding. This response is kind of a marginally stable kind of response, but this response of yt for ramp input, it is a, you are finding it's a this area under the curve is infinite. That means it's an unstable kind of a response, infinite energy. At any instant, how much is the difference between input and output? How can you find that? At that time, at 2, suppose just take a perpendicular line up. So wherever it cuts this slope, this yt, and wherever it cuts this rt. So this difference. So at any instant, rt minus yt is giving you the steady state response, or steady state error. I'm sorry. So at any instant, how much is the input, how much is the output, difference between that, that is giving you actually the response. So you know yt and you know yt at certain input. So difference between that will give you how much is the steady state error. So we will find out all this YSS. SS stands for steady state. We'll find out all this thing in the 4th chapter, I think, and we'll see that. Now there is coming the first order model. So what is the first order model? It is a RC circuit, RL circuit. We have already done in experiment number 3. And what is the second order system? So this is the kind of response from RC circuit we have seen. And whenever there is a second order, so this responses also we have seen for RC circuit, RL circuit. So these are the theory you can find out from here. Very important thing, second order model. So this will be most probably our experiment number 5 or 6. There is the second order system response for different damping conditions. What is damping? You have to know this. So whenever I go for experiment number 5, again we will come back to this page number 57. Remember this. So whenever I say that we are going to do the time domain response or step response of second order system, again we have to come to this page, and you can now go through, because you have seen this thing in your network theorem, RLC circuit response. You have seen that. So many responses you had found. So all this different proofs are there. They are not difficult. They look difficult. So this is the second order system response, under damped response. Okay, so there is under damped response, there is over damped response, there is critical damped response. Then there are different times, settling time, then delay time, then rise time, then peak time, then peak overshoot. All those things we can find out for our second order system. So this will be one of our experiment. Okay. Then sinusoidal transfer function. This is we will not be doing it. So that is it. Then there is coming the model of the mechanical system. So we have done this already. So this is the dashboard they are showing, and then there will come this MBK system, and this MBK system with F, and you know this formula. So Ft minus Fw. What is Ft and what is Fw? So there may be a windage loss or something, that is Fw. Net force power supplied is Ft. So net power minus whatever is the frictional opposite power. So you are finding here there is opposition to the of this mass. So mass is going in a certain direction, but air or maybe some other kind of opposition is giving coming from the other direction. So net force given on the system is Ft minus Fw. So net you are finding Fs minus Fw, like that, and that is equal to m d2xt dt2. So instead of x, they are calling displacement as y. Then b dxt dt plus kxt. This system, if you are finding in second order system, this is the transfer function ms square plus bs plus k. So from where it is coming, you can check. And then fixed axis rotation. So instead of m, we are calling it as b. Sorry, j. There's the inertia. Instead of b linear, it is b rotational, and instead of k, it is called as tw. So here they are showing two system, that is j and b. They are not talking about k, but some system where all these things are there, it can be there. So they are talking about first order system. If k is there, it will be a system. So likewise, this is the table which I wanted to show you. So force, distance, velocity, acceleration, different units is given, and this is a system. So you can take it, page number 68. This is a numerical you have to do. This may be asked in the exam as well, or can be asked in your OBA. That is page number 11. Let us consider a mechanical system. The system represents a shaker table which can be set to vibrate and used to calibrate a measuring instrument or test the resilience of the manufacturer produce. That means this is the MBK system we know, and on MBK system there is another mass camera is kept. This is the system, and you have to find the mathematical model of it. So instead of M, now it will become capital M plus small m. That's the only difference. So previously it was M d2 xt dt2. Now it will be capital M plus small m d2 xt dt2. So now you are entering actually the physical domain of modeling. Okay, so what is this? There's a table. There's a table, adjusting table. So this vibration control table kind of a thing. And this M is a mass of camera which is kept on the table. So together the total mass is capital M plus small m, and they are undergoing displacement of yt, and k and b all are there. So likewise you just model it. So previously we used to find it as ms square plus bs plus k. Now we are finding it m plus m ms square plus bs plus k. Now you have divided numerator and denominator by k, so it has come k is by k and all these things. Now the same numerical is posted here. So m, b, k, all these values are given, and you are finding how much can be the displacement and other things. Likewise. Now whenever I have done MBK system, there is an analogous system. So it can be FV or FI analogy. So analogous system can be a voltage in series with RLC or current source in parallel with RLC. So all those things are given. So here all those things are given. Thermal system and other system you no need to do. So you mainly do up to page number 70. Then thermal system and other systems they are given that you are not supposed to do. For your understanding, if you are interested, you can go through. So after thermal system also there is some hydraulic system. Okay, so this example I think I had given you initially, that there is water is coming and water is going out, and we are actually supposed to control the height of water inside the container. How can we do that? Okay, so this can be open loop system. Just put a level sensor at the top. You can make it a closed loop system. So we have seen this diagram, and there also it can be a first order system, second order system, and accordingly. Okay. So these are many system examples. This book is very properly written. you can find out. And then there is coming some integral derivable, so you don't need to go through this. That's it. One example I would like to do, so directly go to page number 116. Okay, so let me show you after this. So there is a op-amp related thing and all, so skip that. After this, the third chapter starts. So from where you are supposed to prepare the theory of your second module. So that starts at page number 104. So this page numbers are very important. It is mentioned in my PPT also, page number 104. So there you can find out. So first 7-8 pages, all the rules of block reduction and everything. And then they have solved one numerical on block reduction. This also we have solved. We have solved this numerical in two ways. So in the first way, we had taken this point rightward, and in the second case, we have taken this point in leftward, and then we have swapped this sp2 and sp3. So the same numerical we have solved in two ways. Okay, that you can check, and then they are starting signal flow graph. So now I would ask you to do prepare the signal flow graph terminology, signal flow graph numericals, and Mason's gain formula from here. So page number 113, you will understand very easily what are the different terminologies of signal flow graph. So the students who have not started reading my notes, if you skip my notes, it will do. You can check it later on, but you can understand signal flow graph and different terminologies from this page number 13 of the M. Gopal book. So M. Gopal book was uploaded. Please find out. Prepare a short note on Mason's gain formula for 5 marks. So this is page number 115, Mason's gain rule. Please prepare this for a question of 5 marks. And you have to mainly explain these terms. What is M, what is X out, what is Xn, N, Pk, delta K, how to find Pk, how to find delta K, all those things you have to explain. And better you explain it by means of a example. So take an easy example. The first example that I had taken, there was a single path and there were two non-touching loops. That example you can take. Your today's homework will be to understand this numerical, which is given at page number 116, 116. So this is a block diagram. First, I would ask you to solve this by block reduction technique. So I will post this homework now itself. So this will be your homework for today. So two homework course activity you have already done. So this will be your third homework. Your first job is to solve this numerical by using block reduction technique, and then convert this numerical into signal flow graph, and signal flow graph result is given here. So this also you can copy, that's not a problem. The same answer, whatever you are finding in page number 117, the same answer first you have to bring by using block transfer, block reduction technique. So those who are who want to do, you start solving it, because 5 o'clock you are getting free, your lecture is getting over. So the same will be the numerical. Consider the block diagram given below. There are two steps in the numerical. Step number 1. So take the question and you start solving and upload. I will create an instant now itself. So this numerical will be, this will be a 20 mark thing. So 10 mark you will be getting, because second step is solve the SFG signal flow graph. The solution is already given. Okay, so this answer you are supposed to get. So this is page number 117, M. Gopal. And first job is your job. You have to find out that this block will be there, and you are supposed to find out first the transfer function of the block by using block reduction technique. So the question will be same. Get this system. Step 1, or find transfer function by block reduction. Number 2, find transfer function by signal flow graph. So this will be your 20 mark course activity. You have to upload it by tomorrow around 10 a.m. You have to upload it. So block reduction, you know, it's a easy thing. So start solving. So I stop here. Tomorrow again we will meet at 10 o'clock, and we will start with the remaining part of module 4. That is the impulse response and step response for any given transfer function. And what is the numerical? Numerical I have already given you. That is, it is at page number 53. You have to go through that also. So page number 53, this numerical you do, and then you appear for tomorrow's lab session. So I stop here. Thanks for joining. So do this homework as soon as possible and submit.